Hey guys, and welcome back to Faith Works Designs. I'm Faith, and today we're doing something incredibly exciting, and I cannot wait to share it with you. My hand towel pattern. Now, I have been making these for years. So with this hand towel, because of the little button that's in the front, it hangs over your oven, what is it, oven bar or whatever that is. And instead of your towels, you know how you lay them up there and then eventually the kids pull them off or they fall off by themselves and then they get in the floor and get dirty and all that stuff. With the button, they don't go anywhere. So let's get started. Okay guys, so first things first is you're going to want to print out your pattern. There's going to be a link below in the description box. And it's my pattern. I finally figured out how to make PDFs and put them on Etsy and try and do all of that. So I'm really excited about it. The first things you're going to do is you're going to cut this black line. That's going to go away. And then you're going to connect these two. And then it should look like this. You'll have a little line going across there. That is my first one before I made this. So cut across that line, tape them together, cut all of this out, and then I know you guys are probably getting sick of hearing me say go to the dollar store, but you need to go to the dollar store, and this is why. I have made like a million hand towels, like a lot. And if I keep using paper and I'm cutting around it, eventually I'm going to end up cutting this paper or cutting some of the pieces of my pattern off. And it's going to end up being all funky when I'm trying to make another one. So what I did was I took my pattern and the plastic sheeting wasn't quite tall enough. So I put two together. You guys know I'm famous for my painter's tape. But anyway, I can't ever keep regular tape around this house. I don't know what it is. So I traced that out and then cut it out in my plastic. So now I have that for forever. Now, when cutting out your pattern for your hand towel, a lot of people have asked, okay, well, what do you do with the front? You want to make sure that it's straight. But what do you do for the back side so that when it flips over, which I'm going to show you in a second, you want the whole thing to look right on the front. And so what I've told people is I normally cut my pattern, let's say the pattern is facing this way, this is the Dunder Mifflin fabric going this way. I would normally take my pattern and cut it like this and then turn it upside down like this, right next to each other. Cut those out. That'll actually give you two hand towels. And the reason that I do that is so that the front looks nice. Now, if you cut it upside down like I did, the back will be upside down, okay? And that's fine. Because when you turn it to the front and you fold it over, all of the print is going to be facing the right way. You don't necessarily care how the back looks, but we want the front to look right. So that's why you're going to do the second one upside down so that when the flap folds over, it'll be facing the right way. So I have got both of my pieces of my cotton fabric cut out, and then I went ahead and I got a piece of batting. Now I normally use batting on mine just to kind of give it a little thickness. I think if it's just this fabric, it's not going to feel real thick at all, and I don't think it's going to last you very long. So I've got a piece of batting that I cut out. I put that down, and then I put my cotton fabric right sides together. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to sew from here all the way up, all the way around, and down. Make sure that you backstitch when you're stopping and when you're starting, because we're going to turn this inside out. You know, sometimes when you don't backstitch when you get started, if you pull the fabric apart a little bit to turn it inside out, sometimes those stitches will come out. So make sure that you backstitch really good. Okay, you're all sewn up, but before you turn this inside out, what you're going to need to do is on the round parts, you're going to want to get a nice sharp pair of scissors and you're going to want to snip all the way around those round parts. That is going to make your hand towel lay really flat when you go to top stitch it. If you don't do this, it's going to be kind of wonky. So just make sure, take a second and cut those. Make sure that you don't cut your stitches, because if you cut your stitches, your whole thing will come open. You just want to cut little clips in there so that it will turn out inside out and be nice and flat. Alright, so you've got it all turned inside out. Now the very next thing that I find works best for me is that you're going to be turning up about a ½ inch worth of fabric and batting. I find that what happens is when I'm trying to top stitch this with the towel in here, sometimes I lose out on the bottom fabric that I can't see. So I find that just taking this to the iron, going ahead and doing my seam allowance all tucked in, and then pressing this at the iron helps me have better results. Okay guys, so somehow I lost this footage, so we're going to kind of recreate it. Okay, so I get these towels at Walmart. They're just the regular like mainstays towels. And what I do is I cut across the top so that I have 2 towels. So you can get 2 for 1, which is really, really nice. They're about $5 and you can get several towels out of it. Okay, so to get this part done, what we're going to do is we're going to take that half that we cut, and on each side there's a front and the back. You just have to find the seam in the back. And then we're going to fold it back about 1.5 inches or so. And then I use pins for this one. And then I go directly across the other side about 1.5 inches. And then I take and go forward, because we're going to be making pleats. So you want your pleat towards the front, not towards the back. Well, I guess it does the same thing in the back, but yeah, you know what I mean. We're making pleats about the same, about 1 inch, 1.5 inches. Go over to your other side, same thing, make a pleat. Essentially what you're trying to do is pleat this down till it gets to that size, till your width of your hand towel. So for the very last one, I push the fabric forward, put the backs together, and then flatten that out. Just like that. So if you got both sides pleated, push that forward, make the backs come together, flatten that out, and then you're going to pin to keep that in place. Now the next thing that I do is I go ahead and I do like a basting stitch across here so that all my pleats stay in place. The next thing that you're going to do is, after you've ironed and everything, you're going to open this up, and I'm sorry this is closed, but I lost my footage. So what you're going to do is you're going to shove your towel up here. I do it about 1/2 inch to 3/4 inch up. And then normally what I do is I pin my towel into place so that it doesn't move. And then you're going to stitch all the way around. Alright, we're going to do our top stitching. Make sure that you go real slow around the corner so that you're all even all the way around. Alright, the next thing that you're going to want to do is grab whatever size button you plan on using, and we're going to make a buttonhole right here. Alright, so we had to move location because this is my old faithful when it comes to making my buttons. I just use it all the time. So what you're going to do is you're going to get your buttonhole foot, and then you get your button, you put it in here. Now this thing slides up and down, but you want to make sure that your button's in there nice and stuck like that. And put your foot on, and then you should have a little lever here in the back, and you just pull that down, and that's what's going to help your foot know to go back and forth. Now on your machine you should have a buttonhole. Please forgive this lighting. This lighting is terrible in here. Okay, so I know on my machine it's number 30 right here. You might need to look in your manual and see what yours is, but mine is 30. So I'm going to change it up here. Now it's 30, and now we can sew our buttonhole. So you grab the first one, put it under there. Now where you're going to put it is, there's like a little beginning of this foot. You're going to want to put that right up, not towards the edge, but you see how you've got your little seam here, just a little above that. because your machine is going to walk backwards first. So you want to make sure that it's right there, and you'll see in just a second that it'll walk it back, and your pot holder will come forward. Alright, you just go until your machine stops. And then you've got your buttonhole right there. I can get my head out of the light so you can see it. Alright, the last thing that you're going to need to do is put your button on. Alright, now in your pattern you're going to have a spot where you need to put your button. But what I normally do is just fold it over like that until it looks pretty good. I lift it up halfway and then put my needle in like this and pull it through. Now I do cut the tails off. Grab your button and you just sew that right on. Now you're going to open up. Some people take their seam rippers and open them up. I take my scissors. It's not really a big deal. Okay, so grab your sharp scissors, and I normally fold it in half, snip it, come back, and then you cut till you get to your strands and stop. You don't want to cut those or everything's going to come undone. So you do that to both sides. And then you have a super cute pot holder. Alright guys, what did you think of my first pattern? I am so excited to share this with you guys. If you like the pattern, you can give the video a thumbs up, or you can subscribe and see some of the other patterns that I'm coming out with. I just finished one this afternoon to share with you guys. You know, you can subscribe so you can hang around for that. If you have any questions about the pattern, just comment in the link down below and I will get right back to them. Thank you guys again for joining us here on Faith Works Designs. Bye guys.